When is the right time to start competing in MMA? If you'd like to know my thoughts on this, stay tuned and watch this short video. If you want to master MMA fundamentals, check out my instructional called MMA Essential Lessons. In it you can learn about clinch takedowns, boxing, grappling, Muay Thai, ground and pound, Thai and puppet master clinch, escapes from inferior positions, and shooting takedowns. Check out the link in the description below. Hi, my name is Mark Leichner from MMAcoach.net, where we teach coaches, fighters and enthusiasts how to train smart and not just hard. YouTube user DNickX asks, when are you ready for your first fight, or know if you're ready or not for it? There is no clear-cut answer to this question, and the decision is ultimately up to your coach and you. I can, however, give you a few guidelines. We will look into 3 factors: age, skill level, and competitive experience. Let's start with age. As you probably might have seen, there are MMA competition for little kids where there are no strikes to the head allowed. But I've also seen a kids MMA fight in Chechnya, I think, with adult rules, which I thought was child abuse. Just like kid Muay Thai matches in Thailand with full rules. So I personally think that this is too early and that kids might train MMA from an early age but not compete in it, or any other full contact striking sport for that matter. It is much better for kids to compete in wrestling, judo, BJJ or grappling instead of risking brain damage. I will return to this later. On top of this, you probably have to be 18 in most countries to compete in MMA. Next, we move on to skill level and competitive experience. Don't rush in to fight just because you're itching. If your skills are not good enough, you have no place competing. You have to bring something to the table. That is why I recommend competing in grappling sports first. It is not exactly the same as MMA, since nobody will try to take your head off, but you will still have to deal with all of the competitive challenges: weight cutting, tactics, fight preparation, warm-up, jitters, and so on. The more competitions you have before your entry into MMA, the better. It will make the transition much easier. I have competed in judo for 15 years before switching to MMA. I also competed in freestyle wrestling, grappling, and BJJ. So when I switched to MMA, it wasn't a shock. I mean, it was a shock technically and physically when I started training MMA, since it is a different sport, but it was not competitively. Most people nowadays start with amateur MMA, which is a good idea because you get to fight people who are starting out just like you, and there is more protective equipment allowed. There is also a downside to amateur MMA, but it is irrelevant to this video. Skill level and competitive experience don't always go hand in hand. A person can be skillful if he has trained for a long time, but also lack competitive experience. I've seen people that rule the gym but crumble under pressure in competitions. So you need to have skills, but it wouldn't hurt to have some competitive experience in milder sports before you enter the octagon. To sum everything up, don't rush to compete in MMA. Wait at least until you're 18 or even older. You need time to develop skills, and MMA is dangerous. Compete in grappling sports as much as possible to get used to the competing and dealing with stress. Jitters never go away, but you learn how to handle it better. It's also advisable to keep competing in grappling sports even after you start with MMA. You can only have so many MMA fights, but you can have a lot of competitions in grappling sports. Competing in striking sports would also be beneficial, but the chance of getting brain damage is there, so I would avoid it. As for the second part of the question, how do you know you're ready for your first competition? You have to feel that you're ready and decide to do it. I know people that postpone their MMA debuts for years, even though they have trained for a long time and they are more than ready. I've also seen people jump into it early. Shooting takedowns like the double leg are the most widely used takedowns in MMA. If you want to add them to your arsenal, check out this instructional. The link is in the description. Hopefully this video will help you make an informed decision on when to compete in MMA. Question for today: when did you first compete in MMA, and how much experience in other combat sports did you have? How old were you, and if you still haven't competed, when do you think it's the right time? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, like it and share it. and you can also subscribe to my channel. If you want a more in-depth MMA training, check out my instructionals. My name is Mark Leichner from MMAcoach.net, and I will see you again very soon.